Coming up on this episode of We're No Damn Experts, learn how you can eat your way through Great Falls during feasting in the falls. We're talking with the event organizer coming up.
Best damn podcast, the best damn town. You want to get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Thames, if you want to go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm Rebecca Ingham.
I'm Shannon Newth.
And we're no damn experts. Hell, we don't even know how to
Were you thinking
intro.
about what town you were going to say?
I forgot I add Great Falls to the intro.
Okay.
Like, welcome to the greatest damn town. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
I have
Great
to
Falls.
clarify.
Like, I have to tell you what town that is.
Yeah. You've done it 167 times now, so.
Before we started the podcast, I told you it's a Friday podcast.
I know.
So the days
Yeah.
we record on Fridays,
Mm-hmm.
people, you're not getting the best work.
Should we? I think we should also pause because you and I are drinking coffee from Crooked Tree downtown, delivered by Dwayne Bushai from the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center.
Dwayne is so amazing.
Yes.
You can find him in 3 different episodes on our podcast.
Yeah.
Talking about all things Lewis and Clark.
Yep.
Probably still my favorite episode ever is when we just got off the rails and talked about Coulter and how we found Yellowstone National Park and the chaos that ensued of finding that weirdness.
Yeah.
Dwayne, thank you for being a great partner.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing us coffee. It's so unneeded, but if
Yeah.
anyone listening wants to bring us coffee,
We
will
gladly
accept it.
take it. Especially after this week. Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
you have had a rough week.
it's been a weird week. It's been, but you're like, it's just all of us have kind of had it's been a
Yeah.
weird week.
So
Yeah.
as
Anyway.
Shannon and I are talking, we have a spectator to our conversation. Let's bring her in on
I'm
the
excited to hear her thoughts on all these things. Yes, we are so excited to welcome Jenn Rowell to We're No Damn Experts today. Welcome. We're so glad to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Jenn is the founder, creator, and brilliance behind our independent newspaper, digital newspaper, The Electric.
Mm-hmm.
And for years, I have joked about how she needs to start her own podcast called Drunk News.
Yeah. That's actually in our notes of like our podcast idea notes.
Yes.
Next to her name is like
Drunk News.
Yeah. And I was like,
Feels really dangerous for especially the 3 of us.
right? Uh-huh.
100%. But the idea of always just being able to tell the news the way you want to instead of using your adult words and voice tone, it just seems
I
like so much more
think
fun.
That's what happens on CNN and Fox when
Hey,
you get
let's
the
not
opinion
get political.
shows. I'm just saying what you're talking about is not actually the news anymore.
Right? It's less
But
fun.
Yeah.
so we're just going to have her read from every article she's ever done for The
Are you
Electric
prepared for
in the
that?
last.
Well, you told her no, like, we're talking happy things, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure your most recent articles were not.
It's not been the
Happy
happiest of
things.
weeks
Yeah.
or months.
Man, but you're here to talk about happiness.
Yes.
we are. You also talk about happy things too. We should clarify. It's not just
Depends on the day.
depending, right? Yes.
Every now and again, you just get an email that says basketball photos, and those are fun. Those are uplifting.
Yeah.
I don't have any creative juices left. I'm like, it is photos of basketball. I'm not going to lie to you.
There you go.
That's
That's
what
what
it
you're
is.
going to get.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I don't need clickbait. It's basketball photos.
Right.
Open them or don't.
That's my speed.
That's it. That's you want straightforward?
That's what you're
There
getting.
it is.
Every now and then I'm like, I should really jazz up that headline. I really want people to read it. I'm like, but do I want to do that? Like, that's a bad idea.
Right. Before we get into other things talking about while you're here, you are not originally from Montana, but you've
No.
been here for quite a while now in Great Falls. I want to hear a little bit about
your story
Yeah.
journey.
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
Walk us hand in hand down the path of how you've arrived at our podcast studio.
It's actually a kind of a fun story. I feel like you'll
Oh.
enjoy this one.
Great.
So my parents are military, so lived a
Okay.
little bit of everywhere. People always ask where I'm from, and I'm never really
Everywhere.
sure how to
Everywhere
answer
and
that
nowhere.
question.
Yeah.
I'll usually just say, I claim Virginia, and some people get it. Other people are like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I lived there the longest, and I liked it.
Felt the most like home. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I picked it. Like, my little sister says she's from Texas. We're
So
not
people
from
get
Texas.
confused
Like,
about
yeah.
that. Yeah.
I'm like, you were born in Texas. I was born in Michigan. I don't say I'm from Michigan. I
Yeah.
left when I was 2. Or
Right.
I don't know. I'm
That's yeah.
like, so anyway, then I went to school in Virginia, college, all that, worked there, interned there. Then I moved just up and decided to go and went to Alabama for a little while.
Okay.
Fun times.
Okay.
Yeah, it just seemed like a good idea.
Where in Alabama?
Montgomery,
Oh, okay.
which is super fun, actually. I look back now, I'm like, wow, Montgomery got way cooler since I left. I have this like weird track record of being in
Oh.
places and,
And
then you
then
leave and like 10 years later they're just
so-
awesome. And I'm like, you couldn't have been cool when I lived there,
Right.
but
Yeah.
maybe we're just
Maybe
part
we're
of
just-
making it cool.
That's right. Now
they
that's
were
what
holding back.
that's
Oh,
what's happening
could be.
here now.
Psst.
Yeah.
Jen
Exactly.
left. Let's make our city cool.
Right.
I mean, I'm at what, 11 years January here. So we're
Okay.
at that threshold. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, Great Falls.
You've made it past.
Time to get
yeah,
cool.
right? And you get to be part of that now. Yeah.
Right? And it is cool. Love it.
It is.
But then where was I? Oh, I was interning in Virginia. Didn't particularly love it. And I just had this weird obsession with Montana. Like I'd read an article in The Economist or something about Montana, and I was like, I'm gonna go there. There's got to be stories in Montana. I'm going. That's how my brain works.
Yeah.
My mom just looked at me like, why did I pay for a college degree? Like, what is happening right now? Like, what is this? I'm like, oh, we'll see what happens. I actually interviewed at the Trib. That didn't work out. They weren't hiring. I was offered a job in Livingston.
Okay.
But then they heard that I talked to the Trib, so they were like, oh, we can't afford you now. And I'm like, well, I didn't accept a job anywhere.
Yeah.
But then in retrospect, that probably worked out. That might not have been the right spot for me fresh out of college from the East Coast.
Right.
Like, a little too much.
Like,
Right? Like now I'm like, oh, that town is so adorable. But
Yeah.
then maybe not. But so I went to Alabama instead. Then I went back to DC for a little while. And then I was dating a boy who was out here who was just like, hey, do you want to move here? And I had a bad day. This is usually if I have a bad day, you got to watch out because that's when I'm
No
prone to do
suggestive.
things.
Nothing suggestive on bad
like if I'm in a
days.
really bad mood or just having a day,
Yeah.
it's usually when I quit my job and move across the country or leave the country entirely.
Yeah.
You just never know. So if ever I call my mom in a bad mood, she's like, "Oh God, don't book
Yeah.
any
Don't
plane
do anything
tickets."
impulsive.
So then I ended up here. Just
Okay.
I guess 11 years in January.
Wow.
Are you
Yeah.
now saying this is your home, or are you still claiming Virginia?
I mean, that's a tricky one because sometimes I'm like, "Yeah, I'm from Virginia," and then but I live here now.
Yeah.
Now this is the longest I've lived anywhere. So
Well, and you're really
technically-
invested here.
Yeah.
Like you've done a lot here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
around.
Jen gets around.
Yeah.
I always say things in the wrong way.
Maybe that should be our podcast episode
Yeah, I
title.
think that's a great title.
around.
Jen gets around.
I'm going to make a note of this. in
Let
case.
me ask you though, because you're involved with the figure skating scene here in Great Falls, and
Not
or
anymore.
historically have been. How does that happen? Are you a figure skater?
Mhm.
You are?
Yeah.
Oh,
I haven't skated in a little while, but
She
I
was
was.
just a groupie. What?
I was a coach. I
Oh.
am a coach. I just don't skate anymore.
like were you like little Jen training to go to the
started-
Olympics or
No. It was never.
That was never in the
For all
plan.
my like professional competitiveness at sports, I'd be like, hey, you win, you lose,
Yeah.
whatever. Life goes on.
You
Like, I
kind of
don't
need
care.
a different mindset
Yeah.
to make it to the Olympics. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not quite that dedicated in sports. I just never had it in me. Like I
Yeah.
played tennis and my coach would just be so mad. He's like, you're good. You just don't care enough to be great. And I'm like, I feel fine with that.
That's
Like
yeah.
I'm on my college team. I feel fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
More people really should adopt that attitude,
Yeah.
though, I
I'm
think.
like, just have
Yeah.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I lived in Las Vegas when I started skating because
I mean that makes sense.
yeah, I know. We somehow had
Hot
a rink
desert.
and
And you're
sure,
like,
yeah.
oh, I want to start. ice skating.
I had roller skated before that because I watched it on TV and I wanted to be Nancy Kerrigan because,
Who wouldn't?
go big at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'd be out in my driveway pretending I was Nancy Kerrigan on my roller skates like all the time. It was super fun. So we found an ice rink. I'm like, I want to go learn how to skate. Yeah. So I did.
Perfect.
I was not really the best, but I do all right.
What age did you coach or do you coach?
Mostly, I did the adult classes. I love the adults. They're fun because everybody's afraid to fall. And I'm like, yeah, I don't like falling either now that I'm old, so I get it. And then the little kids, I actually they're tough. It's a tough group, but I actually really love the little kids.
Yeah.
Like once you get them in their groove and they figure out, you're not their mom and you have to follow instructions.
Right.
It's great.
So much of my being right now wants to see Jenn do a triple Lutz, or
I couldn't do that on my best day. So
what are you out there just skating in a circle like a figure eight?
I think there's a variation between no jumps and a triple Lutz.
Yeah, there's quite a lot in between there.
That's
in my mind, that's it. There's no in
there's
between.
like a single that happens before you get
singles. Yeah, do singles.
So you can skate forward and then turn around and skate backwards.
Yes, I can do that.
Oh, look at
and
that.
she can jump, maybe just not a triple
jump,
Lutz. What does
not
the
triples.
Lutz part mean?
That's just the edge of the blade you take off and the way you take off with your toe pick.
Okay.
Yeah, Lutzes are hard.
Oh,
I don't like them.
okay.
I can go try to practice them again. That's probably how I break a bone. I quit doing those a while ago. I was too scared. I'm like, I can't do it
just because
anymore.
Rebecca wants you to. That's
That's a good challenge, but
Jen's never been one to give in to peer pressure.
yeah.
never. More like a challenge. I like
That's
a challenge.
Right. Yeah, put it in that framework. And it's on.
Oh, so that's a nice little journey.
It is. Without getting too much into the weeds, you created the electric. You went out on your own. What was behind that?
Oh
yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
So I worked at the Trib. That's when we knew each other back in the day.
Great Falls Tribune, the newspaper.
Sorry,
for those who don't know. Yeah.
I worked there. I was one of the rounds of layoffs.
Okay.
They cut me, and I was just like, okay, maybe I'll quit news because that's a stressful job. I'll go do anything else. Had a mini early midlife crisis, I guess. So I worked at a dog kennel. I worked at Old Navy. I worked at the candy store in the mall when that was open.
Oh, Rocky Mountain Chocolate
Best job.
Factory.
Yeah. That's the most fun ever. You hardly ever get yelled at over chocolate. So I'm like, this is just the happiest place ever.
Right.
There's candy, which you try not to eat too much of. And then you make candy, which is hard, but fun.
Yeah.
And then,
Every
hardly
time
anyone is mad.
Every time we talk to Angie down at
Candy Master.
Thank you. She's just happy. And you walk in and everybody's happy. And I'm like, everybody's happy. We work at a candy store.
Right.
Yeah.
What is wrong with life when you work in a candy store? And
Yeah.
I'm like, 100%
That's a
agree.
good point.
That makes
It's a pretty
sense.
big shift from the news where everybody's always mad at you for everything all the time. And then go be like, oh, I make candy now.
Yeah. People are happy with me.
It was great.
No one's yelling about
Right?
politics.
Or anything, my
Right.
typos,
Or any
my
issue that they
whatever, whatever they're mad about.
I feel like we could have a whole other podcast just about viewer/reader comments.
People,
It won't be endorsed by Great Falls, Montana.
Yeah, that'd be a whole nother operation.
What's the difference?
It's part of that After Dark series
yeah.
we're going to start.
Oh,
Great
there
Falls
we go.
After Dark.
Yeah.
Okay.
/
Drunk
Drunk
news.
news.
I'm here for that. Let's do that. Yeah, well, somewhere in that mix, I was just kind of watching. I'm like, all right, because I covered the city mostly. I was like, some things aren't getting done.
Yeah.
And it bothered me. So I was like, well, why don't I just go do it myself?
Yeah.
And me, liking a good challenge, I was like, all right, I'm going to go do it.
Start
So
my
I
own news
did.
organization.
By
No
this
big
time
deal.
next year, we'll be recording from the ice rink, and she'll be doing a triple Lutz.
That doesn't sound likely.
Well, you keep us posted. Yeah.
So I just kind of decided to do it. It was sort of an experiment at first. Let's just see if people will do this, if this will work. Life just happened to work in a way that I could pull it off. I don't know if, life situation had been different, if I could have afforded to just start that out of nowhere and make no money.
Yeah.
That's a risk.
But I mean, this is that's a huge thing
whole
to go
leap.
from working for a corporation to
Do it all
starting.
yourself.
Right.
When I'm not a web designer, I'm not a photographer.
Right. Well,
I
and
laugh
just
that I'm all online and I'm terrible at technology. I'm like, how did this happen?
but the time it takes to just
Yeah.
to report on one story.
Yeah.
That's why, I mean, that's another part of the challenge is just the time it takes to put one story out, let alone
lot of
like be
work.
continually on top of it, trying to get sponsorships and
Yeah.
the website and manage all of
Well,
it.
and the depth of some of these things.
Yeah, yeah,
Like you have to learn so much.
Oh my
right.
gosh,
And be
I
on
know.
top of all of
Not that
yeah.
committed.
I joked the other day. I was like, I've done so much election law in the last year and reading all the state codes. I'm like,
Yeah.
I should just go to law school. Like, forget
Yeah,
it. I should
you're
just go
already
be a
halfway
lawyer.
there. Yeah.
And, some of the lawyers look at me and they're like, she might be serious. I'm like, I looked it up one day and
Right.
then I moved on, but it could still happen. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of a lot of in
And
the
it's-
weeds for sure.
How many years old now?
It'll be 7 this
Oh my
summer.
gosh.
Time flies.
Yeah.
It really does.
I know,
Yeah,
'cause
I
I'm
was
like, how did
not
that
realizing it was that many already.
Same. Me too.
It feels like just like yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that and for helping continue to tell the stories that need to be told.
Yes.
So,
it's
yeah.
fun time.
And all the info.
Well, and through the electric,
Yes.
Jenn has launched probably the most unique holiday that's ever happened on planet Earth.
Uh-huh.
Well, that feels like a stretch, but I'll
What
take
other-
it. I'll take it.
What other community do you know of that has Ginger Day?
For one person's birthday?
Right.
I don't know.
And not just that, but everyone offers discounts for gingers on Ginger Day,
I love it.
It's
which
love
is
it.
really
Great
like
time.
just showing up and saying, hi, on my birthday, we're going to do this. Will you offer a discount to me
And people
and
said
everyone
yes.
else? And they're like, yeah, seems
See?
like a
you
good
just
idea.
gotta ask sometimes.
Yeah,
You never know.
creative idea. It's fun.
Right?
Like, it's. I mean, I wasn't super organized last year, so it wasn't my best work. This year's Ginger Day, I think, will be a heck of a lot better.
Pretty
I'm really
epic.
excited.
And
I'm hoping.
And when is Ginger Day?
August. I haven't picked the day. It's usually around my birthday, which
Yeah.
is August 22nd.
Nice. That'll be
Sometime
exciting.
around that week.
Yeah.
Preferably not during murals because that's too much. But then at
Yeah.
the same time, all the guys are like, why can't we go to Ginger Day? I'm like, sorry.
Are there a lot of ginger
No.
muralists? Okay.
They're not that I don't think I've met any of them that were gingers that I can think of.
Yeah.
But
They just want to
they just
celebrate
want
with
to
you.
have our parties.
Yeah.
We're just fun that way.
Yeah. And there could be expanded opportunities with Ginger Day as you've been brainstorming around
Did he?
other ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one too. I was like, wait, which idea did I
Yeah.
tell you?
I'm in
Got
the
a couple
dark.
brewing.
Yeah.
Well, I talked to Shannon's husband about an idea. Did he tell you that idea?
No.
Because are we at your kayak thing?
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah.
So I want to do. I love that I
Yeah,
just
we've
say
talked
that. and I'm
about
like,
it.
wait, can we say it?
Yes.
I'll just go ahead and tell people because whatever. I'm going to do it anyway. It's no
Okay.
surprise. So where my mom is from in New Jersey, they have this little lake. It's on the ocean, but then there's this lake thing. And so for Halloween every year, they do a witch's paddle. So people just dress up in witches costumes and kayak, paddleboard, whatever.
Okay.
I'm stealing that, but we're going to do it. Obviously, October is a little rough around here to be on the river. So
Bit of
You
a
never know.
challenge.
You never know.
So I'm
yeah.
going to put it in August and
Yeah.
make it a no souls paddle for Ginger Day.
Oh my gosh.
That's brilliant.
That
I'm
is
so
brilliant.
excited.
Yes. You I wish people could like see how excited you are too. Yeah.
Isn't it
That'll be
nice when
fun.
just things line up and you're
Yeah.
like, it can't be any better
You
than
get
this?
this stroke of brilliance. You're like, oh my gosh,
Yes.
this is gonna happen.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, instead of just eating and drinking, which is a blast, I'm like, maybe we should add an activity into this at some point.
Maybe the
So-
activity comes before the rest of
Exactly. So I haven't really worked out logistics
Yeah.
of this yet, but I'm like, oh, let's just go kayak,
I
paddle in the morning, and then
Yeah.
Ginger Day party all night.
Maybe
love
it
it.
becomes Ginger Week.
Of course, I've thought of that.
I mean, if you need help brainstorming ideas for weeks of activities,
Yeah.
I think it could be very
I
fun.
can eat and drink all week. I've done
Right.
it before.
Same. Which
Speaking.
I know. I was like, that is a perfect
Speaking
segue.
of eating and
It's
drinking
like
all
I'm
week,
brilliant.
Yes. The main
a good team.
reason today that we want to talk to you, although we've wanted to talk to you for a long time, so this is just a good excuse. But Feasting in the Falls is back. It's coming up soon. We're so excited. And this is on its way to becoming a hopefully signature big event in Great Falls. So,
Hope so.
Yeah.
And it's eating and drinking all week.
You're right.
Oh, yeah.
There's the connection, people.
Over a week even.
Yeah. It's a little bit longer this week.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay. So
exciting.
tell us all about Feasting in the Falls.
So this year's is March 1st through 9th. Figured put 2 weekends in it. That might give people a little more time to try some stuff and give restaurants a little breathing room too and try stuff. We're shifting it a little bit this year, trying to make it we're stealing ideas from lots of other restaurant weeks, trying to have more like a set price menu. So that it's like the same, and then you can go to different places and get whatever they concoct for that.
Whatever their $15 lunch is or whatever.
Yeah, so we're kind of testing that out. We'll see. Of course, the days go by so fast.
Yes.
So I'm just kind of like, okay, guys, we got to do restaurant week. So I think it'll be interesting. I don't know if the coffee thing will work yet, so I won't say that yet. But probably play up brunch, since brunch is getting more popular too, and I think people forget. So we'll just factor that in somehow, and then see what kind of creative stuff people came up with. I got a few emails back last night with their menu ideas, so I'm very excited.
Our group
will be great.
I'm on the email with you, and as we've been recording, I think Rhonda with Pizzazz just
more?
messaged again. So
good.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be good. Roadhouse has a fun idea. They're all about it. Pizzazz, so I think it'll be good.
Yeah, and one of the things, am I allowed to say what Pizzazz was throwing out that they were doing? So they were going to do a wine tasting event, right, to start off, and then they're doing like an Irish cooking class during that week as well, right?
Which I think will be very cool.
I mean, when I think about wine, I certainly think about Irish food.
It's not together.
Yeah,
They're
it's
separate. They're separate events.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't think that either. I think of whiskey.
Yeah.
Or Guinness.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So
got a lot of options
All right.
to eat and drink.
So
Let me just also
these are
say,
separate
I haven't
events.
talked about the Guinness Shandy at the Celtic Cowboy for a long time, and if summer's coming up, make that on one of your.
It doesn't have to be summer.
It doesn't, but it really is the best in summer. And now that I say it, I don't even know why it's not on our 10 drinks to drink list.
Oh yeah, we should add that.
I mean,
one.
I created that freaking list. I should have put
You should know.
the Guinness Shandy on there.
Well, there's an open spot now because there was one of the drinks on that list has now been retired. So
Well, kind
There
of.
you go.
I changed it to cinnamon ombre.
okay.
Oh, that's
So.
a good one too.
Yeah. Anyway, I
Which
digress.
is what I'm drinking from
I know.
Dwayne. Ha, full circle.
I'm such an influencer.
Look at you go. Yes.
Yeah, you'll have to check out the newest visitor magazine on our website and see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'll look
Go
for
check
it. I'm
out
excited.
10 Drinks to Drink and see what's there.
There's one called the Snake Bite too. That's in that list of options at Celtic Cowboy with the Guinness, and it's a cider.
Oh.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, that one's good too.
I don't know if I could do it.
We could talk about drinking all day.
Right.
Back
Yeah.
to
I'll put
back
that
to
on Ginger Day.
There you go. Perfect.
back to Feasting in the Falls.
It has to do with it.
Yeah. So Pizzazz is doing a wine tasting, and then they will have an Irish cooking class. I have to ask, because I love Chef Rhonda's food, is she going to cook a meal?
I don't know if she's teaching it or somebody else in the store is. She didn't. I don't think she said in her email
No,
yet.
but I think she
I
was
can
going to
check.
have a signature dish
think
of some
so.
kind available
Yeah.
throughout the week too.
Perfect.
that
Yeah, they're
she's-
going to do a
yeah.
special too.
Yeah.
So they're always fun. They come up with such great stuff.
Yeah.
For Ginger Day and Restaurant Week. I just I'm like, hey guys, crazy
Yeah.
idea, and I love the ones that are like, yes, please, we'll
in.
do it.
Yeah.
So much fun.
And Tara, who we've had on
Yes.
the podcast from Fifth and Wine, has also been a big
She's been helping a lot with
Yeah.
this year, just with ideas, and I wanted to have a person who actually runs a restaurant help us with the planning up front to be like, okay, here's our crazy
That's
ideas,
brilliant.
what works and what doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
So she's been kind of coming in with a bunch of big ideas that she has that I think we'll use next year too. Some of them we
Yeah.
just didn't have time to pull together this year, but next year I
Yeah.
think it'll be great. But she's got some pretty good plans for Restaurant Week too. She hasn't told me exactly what she's going to do yet, but I
So-
think it'll be great, whatever it is.
Just to clarify, Feasting in the Falls is Great Falls is Restaurant Week. And
Yes.
I think in general, I would say a majority of people understand what a restaurant week is. But not all people get it, because I remember the first time someone came to me and they said, we should have a restaurant week. I'm like, I don't know what any of that means. I don't know what any of that means.
That's fair. Yeah.
It's kind of, I guess I'm a little spoiled because, like, in our meetings, I've said, like, when I lived in D.C., Restaurant Week was obviously
huge.
epic. And me and my fellow poor reporter friends were just, like, live for Restaurant Week because we could go try fancy restaurants that we could never afford to go to. They do, like, a $30 dinner, whatever, and so you could go have the best food at the fancy restaurants. So when I kind of, here, I was like, oh, that's kind of what's in my mind for Restaurant Week. But the first year, we're like, well, we don't know what we're doing. Let's just do anything. So now I think we're going to try to make it a little more orderly and more like an event versus just everybody go eat this week.
Right. Yeah.
Just eat out all the time. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And drink some drinks too.
Right.
So what Restaurant Week is, for everyone who is now going, please finally just say what it is. It's a week where you celebrate food in your community. And that food celebration is not just saying, go eat at these restaurants. It's usually a unique food item that they're testing out, or it's a thing you wouldn't get any other time but during Restaurant Week. And it showcases that restaurant's culinary abilities to much of your delight. And usually it's a set price menu in a lot of other communities where lunch is X dollars across all the participating restaurants and dinners is X dollars. Yep. But the menu items change. But it's the same item all week long that you can get to try.
Yeah. And that's what we're kind of testing this year to
like
see
a
if
special.
that will work. Yeah. So do the, what is it, prefix? They call it, I think it's in French. I don't know.
Pre-free,
yeah,
pre-fee.
Something, yeah. I'm sure I'm messing it up.
That's
what
in
it
the
is.
email.
It's fixed price. Yeah.
I remember
know.
seeing that and I was like, I don't know what's happening with this.
I saw it in one of the other Restaurant Week posts and I was like, that seems like a great idea. And then I went and looked it up because I was saying it with Tara, and Tara looks at me and I'm like, yeah, I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm just like borrowing these things. And she's like, I know what it is. Do you? And I'm like, I do now.
As long as you know. Yeah.
I Googled it.
Yeah. I was like, I should know this. But so we're going to, try to do that. Like different price point options at lunch and then dinner, and try to get some kind of creative, see what they can come up with in that set space. And we'll see if it works, if the restaurants like it, and maybe we'll do something totally different next year. You never know with us.
Well, and there's some fun opportunities in the years ahead too, like adding some educational kind of cooking classes, or kind of cooking on a budget kind of class. Like,
exactly.
How do I make a meal out of this, and this kind of thing?
Which, we talked about that in our planning meeting. And I was all excited. And then, of course, now all of a sudden it's the middle of February. And I'm like, oh, gosh.
But there's some great things. I mean, like, Feasting in the Falls is here to stay. There's some, like, this is going to be a good yearly event.
I think so. Yeah. I hope so. I had I messaged Erin, who's helping too, with her film company, but I had like a full panic attack on Monday. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this done. I'm like, maybe we just call it for the year and say good. And Erin's like,
no,
we can do it. You can do it. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, all right, we're just going to power through and we're going to make it work and it's going to be great. Yeah. And then, and I say it every year. I'm like, next year will be better. And it always is. Yeah. Even when we're all really overworked.
Right. What year is this for the Feasting in the Falls?
I think this will be, I was trying to think of that this morning, actually, on my way here. I knew you'd ask me that. I'm like, shoot, when did we start it?
It's not the first year.
I think this will be the fourth since the electric started.
That's the number I came up with.
Yeah. Because you guys did it for a while, and then it kind of went away, and then COVID happened, and then I was just sitting around one day like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we did Restaurant Week?
Yeah.
And I got Beth Branham from the Takedown Takeout page to do the first year collaboration, so she's been my partner in crime for a little while.
Yeah.
It's been great. So now I think it's just gonna pick up steam, and now I'm making other people help, like Shannon. And that's really helpful, having friends. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate, you're the one doing all the work for this year. We're just helping spread the word. You're the one putting in all the effort for it. So
you do all the work. We'll take all the credit.
I'll take it. It works.
As
long as people know about it.
Yeah.
One of my dreams has always been, and I'll share it on the podcast so it's there for posterity's sake, is kind of this cooking competition where you only get to use Montana ingredients.
Ooh, I love that.
And then
add it to the list for next year.
Yes.
But I want to take it one step further. You can only use Montana pots and pans. You can only use Montana. You can only serve it on Montana pottery. You can only do your dishes and wash them with Montana dish.
So like in giant
towels
springs or
dish
towels.
Dish
towel. I know. I was like, the water. We can use the river will work. We can do that.
Yeah. So
Pots and pans, I don't
have
know.
this really great. Yeah, there's some nice
Really?
ones.
Okay, good
Yeah.
to know. I don't cook very much, considering I do a restaurant week. I'm like, I never.
Well, this is why you go visit all these
Exactly.
places. Yeah.
So I would love to see that, and then like round robin, and it's a whole bracket,
Oh,
and
that's a
people
super
fill
fun
out
idea.
their
Yeah.
their restaurant week brackets of who's gonna win, and
Yeah.
I feel like you just issued me a challenge.
I did.
I saw all that coming.
I come up with amazing ideas. I fail at implementation.
I mean,
This is why
sometimes
she's
I do
passing
too,
to
but
you. Yeah.
but every now and then I'm like, you know what, guys, we're just gonna do it.
can make
More
it
and more
So-
people who know, the better off
All
it's
right.
gonna be.
Mhm.
I mean, so now what?
Well,
Thousands and millions of people have now heard it
That's
through this
right.
podcast.
That's
I'll
right.
put it on our big idea list for Restaurant Week. I
Yeah.
have the like right now Restaurant Week plan and
Yep.
idea, and then I have
Mhm.
next
The
year, and then
pipeline.
like the 5-year, like this
Yeah.
is what I want to get to, and then
Totally.
ideally we make it happen eventually,
Right.
slowly
No,
but
that's
surely.
Well, there's so many cool opportunities because I think that there's more delicious food options here than people realize.
Oh yeah,
Like, I'm not saying we are some foodie capital, right? But I think like you can find some
Great
wonderful
stuff.
food and some variety of food too when you get out. Nothing wrong with the chains, but when you get outside of the chains, there's also some really great variety in some of our local restaurants too.
Well, and there, we were at Magpie last night, actually trying some of their new menu items, which were
Yeah.
great, and then playing trivia, which
It's so
was
much
about
fun.
football, and I know nothing about. I was pretty useless on the team last night, but yeah, we tried several of their new menu items, so
Yeah.
that was fun. It's, who knew? But they're so great.
I'm just gonna also air my complaint during COVID. N bar.
Like, what did I do?
And no, this is a Mike Callahan issue. So Mike, I'm calling you out. N bar had take and bake meals during COVID,
Oh,
and one of the take and bake meals that he had was like a pork loin, mashed potatoes with some apple something in it. It was the most amazing food I have ever eaten in my life, and it has never been made available again
Oh, like
as a
on the
take and
menu?
bake, and it has never showed up on the N bar menu.
You should send him a letter.
he could make it part of Restaurant Week. Yeah.
Could you imagine
him a
if I
letter.
actually drafted a letter and mailed it to him?
Yes, I can absolutely
I think
imagine
I'm
that.
doing it. Today,
That's funny.
dearest Michael,
Yours.
Like, dear
Today-
diary.
Yeah.
I called you out on our podcast,
Uh-huh.
and I felt the need to send you a letter to let you know what I have done.
I mean, it's old school. Put it in writing.
But
It's serious.
You might actually see it versus, an email or something that just kind of
Yeah.
gets lost.
He does see my texts. I should text more.
I'm sure he would love it if you texted him more.
Yeah, nothing about tourism. I have this idea about food. Why don't you do this more often? And he'll be like, if you want to do things about food, start your own restaurant. I'll be like, well, that's not the response I had hoped for.
Well, guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it
Maybe
could be
someday.
Maybe
Bring-
it'll be part of
bringing
his
it back
restaurant week
in.
menu.
Right. Maybe it could be a Restaurant Week thing.
That'd be nice.
There could be, maybe they bring back the take and bake option during that week.
Could be.
We'll
Yeah.
see. I left creativity up. I was like, here's kind of the general framework.
Right.
Beyond that,
Here's
y'all
some
do what you're going to
ideas.
do.
Yeah.
Which we'll see.
And then you tell us what you
Mhm.
want to do.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then we'll just tell the
Yeah.
world.
So March 1 through 9.
Yes.
So folks that are coming in for state basketball tournament, this is really important for you to understand that there's going to be some unique, fun options to enhance your experience while
Yeah.
you're here in Great
That's
Falls.
right. Mm-hmm.
Get out and eat some good food.
Yeah.
Are all the participating restaurants or establishments downtown, or is this kind of all across Great Falls right now?
I sent it out to a bunch of people who participated last year, so we'll kind of see who. I need to Facebook it too, so
Yeah.
not everyone reads my emails, so they
Yeah.
all see
Yep.
it and get the chance to participate.
Maybe
I don't
you
read
should
my own
text
emails
them.
sometimes. Yeah, and be like, "Hi guys."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been kind of citywide before. There are, I feel like, a concentration of a lot of stuff downtown that
Sure.
it's easy for them to jump on these things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, anyone in town can participate if they follow the participation guidelines.
You got to play by the rules.
You got to play by the
I'm
rules.
getting a little stingier with my rules. I'm just
Yeah.
okay, this
Ooh.
is how it works. Let's do it.
So you're laying down the law.
We'll see how well I do. But yeah.
I think you're capable.
Yeah.
I think so too. I have no doubt about that. Like, sorry,
It's
no.
not an area we're concerned about. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
People, I can't
So
wait
good.
if you've never met Jen
Right.
to just run into her one day and go,
Oh, I see
that's-
what you mean.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I'm a fun time.
she is a fun time.
It's true. Yeah. Laying down the law. Just kidding. We'll meet her on Ginger Day, and that'll be
Oh, yeah.
You should
Find me early.
give us a heads up on Ginger Day. Maybe we'll have we could do a whole thing around
We should.
Ginger Day.
Although hopefully not last year before, I signed up to run a half marathon.
On
not
Ginger Day?
Well, no, but I wasn't really thinking. I was like, oh, it's on a Sunday. It's fine. Yeah, it was the Sunday after Ginger Day that I just didn't put 2 and 2 together until it was a little bit too late.
Yeah.
I was like, I'd committed.
Looking how
I'm
the
like,
calendar
well,
works.
now I can't. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like, you'd think I'm sort of smart. You think I could have put that together, but somehow it just didn't click in my brain. And all of a sudden I was like, awesome.
Oh.
I get to go,
Run.
have my Ginger Day and go to bed at 6 so I can run 13 miles the
Woo!
next day. That was not the best of plans. So
I-
it goes.
Here's some insight. Just the idea of running 13 miles to me, it was like, no, that's not a plan I'm committing to.
Yeah. Kelly and I did it. Kelly from downtown. Both of us are kind of runners. Or she's a better runner than I am, but I used to run a lot of races, and now I'm like, oh, it's so hard. Like I hated it then, but I was young, so it just didn't hurt as much. Now it just hurts
The thing
more.
is, it doesn't seem like it's hard.
Oh.
It's like walking but fast. It's not.
Well, your
It's
legs
different.
just kind of give out after a while. It's like, that's nice. We're done
just
now.
lung capacity.
Yeah,
It's brutal.
Have
It's
you
a long
run,
time.
Have you run marathons?
Not full. I've done a few halves.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll never do a full. That just
I don't. Yeah,
seems
I really
insane
don't.
to me. I love that. Like, a half. Sure, no big
Right.
deal. But double that? Why would you do
Yeah,
that?
I know. I'm like,
That's the tipping point for you?
Oh,
half
yeah.
is a good accomplishment, but I've never. I mean, maybe at some point in life I'll run a marathon, but I've never really been like. I've gotten to the end of a half and been like, yeah,
I feel
I'm
good
good.
about that. Not enough. Well, I would watch finish. Like, did you ever do a rock and roll? Those are pretty
yes,
fun.
in Kansas City I did
Yeah,
one.
those are pretty fun because they're just huge. So many people. It's
Yeah.
like a whole city party thing. And
Yeah.
but then I would be like crossing the finish line for my half. Just some went better than others because
Yeah.
you run. Some days you're just feeling it. Other
Yeah.
days your body's like,
Oh,
that's so
it's a
cute.
struggle.
We're
Yeah.
not going. We're not doing it.
I should correct. I didn't do this one. Is called what's called Rock the Parkway because it's
Oh,
on Ward
nice.
Parkway. It was not a rock and roll one, but
Okay,
those have
I
looked
bet
fun though.
Yeah, they're super fun. But then I'd be crossing the finish line, just trying to and I would always, I don't know if you ever did this, I'd take walking breaks as I got close to the
Yeah.
finish line because I absolutely have to run across the finish
Yeah.
line.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
mental
Nope.
tick
Yep.
for me. I'm like,
Yep.
nope, gotta run.
Yes.
So I'd take a little break, power up, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. And I'm like, no, I want to die. I want to die. But I'm like, I can't stop
Nope.
running. Gotta make it look like I'm cool. And then
Right.
I'd see the full marathon people just blowing by me. I'm like, I don't
Wait a
understand.
second.
Like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
I wish I could be that good, but I'm not.
Right. I know.
13 was more than enough.
more than enough. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's
Yes.
a little too long. But yeah, never try
know.
to do that after
No.
your birthday. It was just a stupid
Bad
plan.
idea. Speaking of road races, we have the Icebreaker. Our
Oh.
annual Icebreaker road race is coming up in
Do
April.
you do the icebreaker?
Yeah.
The
I've
full
done it almost every year since I've lived here.
Nice.
I skipped that one when it was like a blizzard or something, and I lived out in the county, and I'm like, I'm
You're
not
like, I'm not
driving
driving
in
in
to
for-
run. Like,
yeah.
I wussed out.
Yeah.
I paid my fee. I got the T-shirt, but
Yeah.
I didn't. There's no way.
No finisher's medal. Yeah. Yeah, I don't blame
It's
you.
fun. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
I
but that
usually
one's-
do the 5, but then I wussed out and did 3 last year. I
Oh.
was like, why hurt myself?
That's
Just
not.
do it. I
That's
can
not
do 3.
wussing out, by the way. Yeah,
I know. I'm like, why do I just torture myself like
Right.
this every year?
You're like, I can do the 3. It's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
We can
So
do it.
that's
it's a fun time.
I want to say April 18th.
I think
It sounds,
that sounds right.
Okay, thanks.
I mean, none of us have a calendar in front of us, but that sounds
Yeah.
like the right day.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
If it's not that, if it's
I'll
not a
correct
Sunday,
it. I'll do a post.
it's
just
around that time.
Like, so Shannon misinformed everybody on the podcast.
Like,
have
I
to
was there. I
correct.
helped.
Everyone in the room was
Yeah.
agreeing. It's April
Right.
18th. We'll just have to call Steve and go, we've changed the day for the
because we
Icebreaker.
can't admit that we were wrong. So you need to
Yep.
just change
It's
everything.
now this day.
Sometimes it happens.
Yeah. But,
Oh my gosh.
so you do a lot. besides just
Great statement.
running your own company, but you're starting a restaurant. I mean, you're involved in a lot of stuff. Why do you want to do these things?
Such a good question. There are days when I'm like, I don't know.
Why
about
are you
this.
such a glutton?
I ask myself that regularly. I don't know, actually. I don't know. I like doing things. I like having ideas and make other people do them with me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Ginger Day. I was like, you know
Right.
what? I just want to have a party for my birthday because
Right.
I love my birthday.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get over that someday, but I do. And
No,
then,
don't do it. You got to
right?
celebrate.
Yeah. And then Heather Palermo and I, you know her, she's another Ginger. We were just sitting talking one day. I was pitching another crazy idea to Jolene. My hometown in Virginia. Yorktown, they do this thing. They do Pirate Day or something pirate related because it's on the river and there were actual pirates back in the day. So I was telling Jolene when they were doing that, their little truck on the river thing. I was like, what if you did a Pirate Day? And then somehow it got turned around into, Jen, you should do Ginger Day. And I said, okay. Yeah. So that's how Ginger Day was born.
Because you were trying to pitch a different idea to somebody else.
I was pitching another idea and we're just having some, mimosas and brats Sunday morning. And all of a sudden between me, Jolene, and Heather, it's like, hey, we just invented a day.
Yay.
But it's like, why not? It's fun. Other people have fun. If I can do something that's good for our community and fun for me, fun for other people.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just one of those weirdos. If other people are having fun because of something I did, that feels good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love it.
Yeah.
And I just like to torture myself, I guess, with too many things at one time. And I'm like, I can do all this.
We
It's
appreciate
fine.
that you like to torture yourself because it's bettering our community.
Right?
So
And then some days I'm like, I'm going to take a nap.
yeah.
Someone stopped me at a meeting one day and was like, Jen, it was a Monday, mind you. And they're like, Jen, are you okay? Like, I didn't see any emails from the electric for the last couple days. I was like, well, it was the weekend. And I took a day off. Like, I took a nap.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, pros and cons. Glad you were worried that I didn't publish for a day or two.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, something's wrong with Jen. I'm like, well, that's a little concerning. But also, thanks for
You have a
noticing.
check. Yeah, you have a check so people will notice if
I
you're
can't
not
go
okay.
missing.
Right, yeah.
You're doing these, what I'm going to say is the precursor to drunk news. I'm just going to say that because I feel these events are leading up to the full experience. Oh. But you're hosting news roundtables at breweries.
News and brews.
Yeah, you're not drunk and it's not just you and you're bringing other people in. Tell us, let me just preface this. As a listener to our podcast, you're really thinking of what are the cool things in Great Falls that I can come visit? I realize you're not going to jump on a plane necessarily and fly to Great Falls so you can attend News and Brews, but maybe you're here and you're a nerd like me and you're like, what is this crazy thing? Tell us what this crazy thing is because I think it's interesting as all can be. But again,
I would go to one of these.
Yeah, like if it was in another town, I'd be like, yeah, I want to see what this is.
Yeah.
I think funny. It's another idea that I stole from a friend of mine. I should have my friend Kate move here. Her and I were interns in Fredericksburg together, and she moved to York, Pennsylvania. She's so creative. They come up with like the wildest stuff, and I'm always following her stuff, and I'll send it to Kelly or somebody and be like, guys, Kate came up with another crazy idea. I think we should try it. Like, so I don't know where she got it from, but she did a News and Brews years ago, and I've always wanted to do it. So I don't know. I think they're fun. Sometimes it's kind of a crapshoot. It's like someone might come and yell at me in a bar.
Yeah,
and that might
you're
be
opening
terrible.
that door.
It's a little. It can be a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
They've all gone really well so far. We've done two. And I was just talking to Tom Wiley and Ryan the other day to schedule our next one, and then I forgot to pick a day. So I'll get on that. Basically, it's just, a couple of reporters, me. I sucked Tom Wiley into it, and he is such a trooper. He's he's so much fun. And he'll do anything. Like the two of us did the first two, and then we invite just the community, other reporters, whatever. Just come talk to us, like as people, ask us questions about how we do the news, how we operate. You can ask specific things about stories, pretty much anything. It's like, we'll just have a conversation with you as a normal human, very low threat situation where I grab a beer, have a chat. Like, I think it's great because, too, Shannon, like doing the news, sometimes people really don't understand how it works or maybe why it's important. And then sometimes people just like to yell at you. So, which is fine.
There's
That's
mass generalizations made about what it means to be in news or be a reporter or whatever things that are happening on the national landscape get
Trickle down.
put onto local, wherever that's really not the case
Exactly.
all the time, or
Yeah.
really any of the time.
So I figured it's kind of a good little just education opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's good, for us to be out in the community talking
Absolutely.
to people. And the electric is, 7 years now? People know what it is, but it still can always use some more awareness. I love when I go to
Yeah.
meetings and people are like, well, I didn't know this was happening. I'm like, you obviously
Okay.
didn't read the electric.
Yeah.
But
That could be.
I can't say these things.
Yeah, you can.
Could be the worst phrase I hear in my life. Well, I didn't even know that business existed.
Ugh, I know.
Crawl
Try.
out from under the rock.
Yep.
I mean, the amount of information that is available to people
Correct.
today is so immense. Really, you just have to find whatever path to information you want to walk, and it will show up in your journey.
But I mean, in a way, that's complicated too. Now there's not just, your standard daily
Right.
newspaper with all of your information in one place. Now there's so many.
So many different
trying
sources.
to
Yeah.
navigate what's real, what's not.
And with the 24-hour constant cycle, if you will, that also means it's not, at this specific time I will get all of my information. It's you can miss
so much.
something too if you're not looking at the right
Yeah.
time or the algorithm, whatever.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Social
Yeah.
doesn't really help us out. But
Right.
It
But
is-
we've seen it even with our social media. Like, somebody will ask a question, and before I even have a chance to, somebody else has answered incorrectly, giving
Yeah.
this person information. And so I go on, try to keep my wits and just do an educational post,
actually.
but even about, where our office is or what we can provide or not provide.
Right.
And somebody gets on there like, no, they're not there anymore. They're in this stupid building and they're not there and they don't do this. And so, I have to go on. Okay, actually, lovely woman from Canada, you are welcome to come. This is where we are. This is what we provide.
I know, and you're so
Yeah.
diplomatic. I need to take lessons from you. 'Cause
Well.
there are days I'm like, that was maybe not the diplomatic way to say that, but oh well.
That's a Shannon characteristic.
Oh.
She
I know.
could be more sassy if she wanted to be.
But
she's
there's a lot of
so
internal
shy.
sass that happen.
Mine just comes
chooses.
out. There's no hiding.
Well, as we were talking about before, I got to find the balance so it's not, yeah.
It's a tricky space.
Yeah.
Every now and
we
then
can
I'm
all
like,
balance
okay.
each other here. Yeah.
I was in what meeting was I in? I don't know. Some meeting. And somebody said something about hot ticket. And
Oh.
oh my gosh.
My favorite
One
term.
of my friends
Yes.
just turned around and literally put her arm or her hand on my leg and just like breathe. Just
Don't
breathe.
respond.
And I was like, whoa. And she's like, I feel it. I feel your rage. And I'm like, it's fine. Everything's fine. I'm just going to sit here and type my notes. It's okay. But I just love that. She's like, Jen, I can feel you heating up over there.
Right.
Just simmer down.
So
and I
moral
did.
of the
I
story,
behaved.
let's, take time to educate yourself
Yes.
on
Learn things.
things.
I try.
And don't respond about something you don't actually know about.
I mean, it happens to us all. I've been wrong.
This from
before.
the people who created a podcast saying we're no damn experts, where we'll actually just go and record an entire episode and be like, I think some of this is true.
To clarify,
It might not be.
that was happening before I came on. I was not part of the creation of that concept.
Oh my gosh, I love
Although I do, it has been fun coming from that background to be like, oh, we're just going to go with it. All right.
It's kind of freeing.
It
sometimes.
is.
Might
Like,
be
let's
true.
just have a conversation.
It is.
Yeah. But turns out, after this many episodes in our podcast, every time I think I know something, it confirms I do know exactly.
She's
it's
actually
true.
been, that's been happening
I
more
would
and
say
more.
95% of the time I'm correct.
That's good.
Well,
was-
early-
know a lot
the
of
one that
stuff.
came out today is when we're recording this podcast, Camping with Bob.
Yep.
You asked stuff and he's like, yeah,
That's
That's
true.
right.
Now, there were a few times, I think the only time where I was corrected a number of times was our episode with Brad Watson of the City Bar. And he's like, well, actually, Rebecca, that's not true at all. I'd be like, yes. Like
I
the
can just
amount
hear
of
Brad's
times,
voice
I
too.
know.
I love it.
the amount of times I just hope someone says that, I'm like, yes, I'm wrong. And I'm like, oh no, I'm right again.
Okay.
You
I
want
feel
to
another
be,
challenge
you want
coming
to be
on.
corrected. Yeah.
Brad was just perfect. Well, Rebecca, turns out you were wrong again. I'm like, fantastic.
Thank you.
That's how we learn.
Yeah. The one I got corrected on,
Oh,
shoot, there
yes.
was one where
Blueberry and the blue
damn
fog.
Oh yeah, with the Mighty Mo guys.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like pretty sure about the stories of how this different stuff was
Casey's
made,
like,
and they're like, no, I was
Not
like,
at all
Oh.
correct on
Well,
that one. I'm like,
But I also blame my husband on that because he's the one who told me that.
That's fair.
and he said it with authority. That's the trick.
The thing. Yeah. Just say it like you know what you're talking about and people believe it. And sometimes that happens to me in a lot of meetings. I just sit there. I'm like, that's not even close to true, right? But
That's
we'll come back to that.
Yeah. It's what it takes.
For me, I'll say things over and over again where I'll be like, yeah, that's the truth. And then I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Oh, I made it up. That's what happened.
Then you're in this delusional state where you're
Yeah.
trying to figure out what's actually
That's why I always
reality.
ask people, is this real?
Well,
Did
I
I
mean,
make this up?
Yeah.
Some of the emails I send to like public officials when I'm trying to get some information, I've written quite a few that I'm like, all right, guys, I'm like, I think this is how this works or what this is or whatever. I'm like, or did I just completely imagine that?
Yeah.
And sometimes they write back, they're like, no, you're right. You've got it. Other times they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, that's why I checked.
But this is why we clarify.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm like, let me just make sure I'm not imagining
yeah.
this or I didn't have a dream about city
And
government,
it's
which
good
is possible.
for officials to see reporters
Yeah.
wanting to clarify and ask that.
Like, I want to understand it.
Right.
Most of the time. Sometimes I'm kind of like, I don't want to write about this anymore.
Those are like my favorite emails to write, though, is I think this happened. Do you remember it this way? And they're like,
yeah, exactly.
I remember threads of that. And I'm like, good. Okay. We're on
There's something in there.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I was going to say getting us back on track, but we didn't really have a track to start with.
That's the most fun, though.
Really.
Kind of all over the place.
track.
What are some of your favorite things about Great Falls? Like you've chosen to stay here. You've chosen to be here.
For now.
Yeah.
Man, if we get her out, how cool would we be? Oh, anyway.
If you get her
Oh,
out.
back
out
to how whenever I leave, then places get cool. I was like,
Okay,
what?
yeah.
I'm like,
I was
what did I
like,
do to
wait,
you
why
today?
are we trying to
Thank
get
I'm
her?
just kidding. I
goodness.
got it. I caught on.
Okay.
I followed my own story back
Yes,
to that
back
one.
to that. I
It's
had
been
a
a
moment
long
too. I was
trip.
like, wait, why are we getting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
like, oh, where do
Yep.
I need to go?
So yeah, how do we make it better with you
Okay.
still here?
I mean, I am trying to leave the country this year, just like and come back just for like a vacation.
Your top 5 recommendations of things to do,
in Great
experience
Falls.
yeah.
here in Great Falls.
Well, let's see. I love Arts Fest.
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously one of my favorite weeks. I'm not allowed to buy artwork for a little while.
But you got a beautiful piece.
Oh, I love that moose.
Yeah, you got one out of the auction they do at the end,
Yeah,
right?
it was the artist reception,
reception,
that year.
that's
Yeah,
right, yeah.
in the alley when. Yeah,
I'm going to tell you.
It's a good story.
And we've mentioned the art reception for Arts Fest in the alley. I
Yeah.
loved it in the alley.
it was so fun.
It's like this little exclusive club that you're hanging out in an alley, and then you realize you're hanging out in an alley, and it's cool. So
Yeah, we
not
made
that
alleys
last
cool.
year's wasn't
It was like
as
it was
fun.
not in an alley this year.
No.
No, it was on the street, and yeah, I don't know if they're gonna do the same this year. We'll see.
Well, I just hope there's an artist reception this year.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they do like the quick paint, like what is it, like an
Quick
hour
draw
or something
thing.
they
Yeah.
have, and they do whatever they're gonna do, and then we do the auction, which is how I ended up with that painting.
You're
was
supporting
great.
artists. That's good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love it. It's a great story, but I was like, here's a surefire way to get Jen to buy some art.
Put a moose on it.
Uh-huh.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So Arts Fest, that was number
Arts
one.
Fest, I love. Trying to think, what else do I love to do?
Western Art Week.
Yeah. I haven't been to that as much. Sorry, that was not the right response.
It's okay. It doesn't
all
have
right.
to be in
It's
your
not
top
for everyone.
recommendation.
No, it is actually very fun. I'm just like not as used to it. I volunteered and helped an artist one year, and then I just went last year. So now I actually know some of the artists. It's actually really fun every year. Like we'll just go hang out and I'll just walk around. I just blanked on her name all of a sudden.
Abby Pittman.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew. See, you know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Because she has a couple moose paintings, and every year
Yeah, it's like
I'm
that seems like the style you would.
I kind of tell her every year, I'm like, oh, give me another year. Let me sell some more ads. Maybe I can afford that painting that I have nowhere to put it.
Yeah.
So, I'll just buy another giant moose painting. I wouldn't put it past me.
Yeah.
But, like, a couple of those guys. And Cody.
Cool.
Yep.
He's
those
so
guys
fun.
are so fun.
Yeah.
We just have the best time. So,
Yeah.
I do like Western Art Week.
Okay.
It took me a little longer to
I don't want
get
to
there, but-
suggestively add to your list, but
No, I do enjoy that.
And it doesn't have to be big events either.
Yeah,
It can be
I know.
like,
I'm like,
I
what else
liked
do I like to
going
do?
for a walk and getting coffee.
True.
here.
Oh, I do love coffee.
Yeah.
most of the time. Sometimes I drink too much and it just doesn't go
that'll
well.
happen.
Well, I love all the parks and the trails because,
Yeah.
well, and my dogs. So,
Yeah.
like going for a run with them, I'm like, oh, this is so great. Or a walk when I'm too tired to run. But the poor puppy has to run kind of far sometimes. What am I up to? 3? What else do I like to do? This is so terrible. I can't think of what I do for fun.
You're so entrenched in everything that sometimes it's hard to separate
just,
that.
out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I love eating and drinking, obviously.
Yeah.
I
was just gonna say,
or like trivia is pretty fun.
Favorite favorite cocktail. You don't have to name the place, but what is your favorite cocktail or drink in town? Like your go-to?
Well, my go-to is Jameson ginger ale, which isn't very creative. So, oh no, I know what it is. It's the Montanan at Magpie.
Oh,
That's my favorite.
Ooh.
I do
they've
love it.
got
There's
some
like
good
a
drinks.
strawberry beret or something like
Yeah.
that there that I really like.
That one seems popular.
Yeah.
I just don't like things with cream in them.
Oh,
I'm just weird that way.
Yeah.
The other ones I like.
That one goes down.
Or the
Real
what's
easy.
the spicy? There's a spicy one at
Yeah.
Kellergeist. What's it
Horn
called?
dog.
Horn dog. I love that one.
Do you get it
Just
the
good name.
horniest?
Yes, actually.
What?
It's the spice level because it's got jalapenos in it, right?
Yeah.
But it's just funny because jalapenos are a tricky thing, and I do
are.
like spice, but sometimes it's not very spicy, and
Yeah.
other times I think my face is melting because it's
Yes,
just
like
Yeah.
there's
oh,
no
okay.
consistency.
The jalapeno showed
Yeah.
up today. Like,
Ooh.
Like
So
this
it's always
kind
jalapeno
of a
shy,
crapshoot.
but this jalapeno wants to punch you in the gut.
Yeah.
Like they look
There is,
similar.
yeah, that's true. There, because some stuff I'm not big on like hot stuff, but some like I can handle a little bit of
Yeah.
jalapeno. It just depends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
folks,
the
if
seeds and
yeah.
another one of those drinks that should be on the 10 drinks to drink
Yeah.
list, we'll just expand it. We'll create another
Another
list.
Maybe
Anyway,
it's maybe we can have like seasonal lists.
they have the horn dog, which comes as a horn dog, the hornier dog, or the horniest
Okay.
dog, and it's the level of spice that you
That
get in
makes
that
sense.
cocktail.
That
and I
makes
always
sense.
get the spiciest one and then just kind of see what happens.
Yeah.
So some days I'm over there like my face is
Ooh,
sweating, my hair's
yeah.
sweating, and other days I'm like, are you sure you did that right?
Yeah.
'Cause it's not spicy.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the pepper.
Well, that's how you know
Like,
it's freshly made.
Peppers they're tricky.
Yeah.
So one
There-
of the things we've not really got to ask anybody, and I'm going to take us down this path about Kellergeist, is they've now moved back into their 100
Original.
block location. Where are you more of a fan of, the OG location or that expanded location, where the completely different vibes in those two?
Yeah. I think I like the original.
Yeah, I'm an
But I
orig-
also remember like when it was Bert and Ernie's, and I just
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
I'm in Bert and Ernie's,
Yeah,
which
'cause
that
I do
sounds
miss
kind of
that.
silly, but yeah.
No.
But I think I like the smaller. Like it's just
I have yet to.
interesting in there.
Well, I stopped in there during the Christmas stroll because they were like just getting back
Yeah.
in there. But I have not experienced Kellergeist in its original
Oh.
location. Yeah.
we should take you.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's really a sad day.
yeah.
Which yeah.
Is that so? Question: are they with their food and stuff? Is that
Food is only at the
so? They're in both
3rd
locations
Street.
still.
Yes.
Okay.
The cocktails
Or
are,
just at the original.
Okay.
yeah,
Can you still get cocktails at the other?
You can only get beer and wine,
you can get drinks,
Okay.
not
but not the
Co-
specialty.
cocktails.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I wanted
fine.
the
We should go.
horniest dog,
You
You gotta go to the OG.
original.
100
and
block.
if
we
I
can
want
do
food, then I go
100
over there.
block.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Are you going to the symphony tomorrow? We could get a drink before.
I am not, but that is a perfect place to get a drink.
Exactly.
beforehand. Yes.
So
Yeah.
convenient.
Yes.
Folks, go back into the archives of this podcast and you'll find our conversation with Mats and Jolene about Kellergeist and kind of just the cult following that it
Yeah.
had at the
Oh, yeah.
original
They're
location.
And
It's
they're
not very big. I
Their
mean,
Oh, it's
Mimosa
tiny, but it's
Showdown
so fun.
capacity is like
challenge.
15 people.
It gets
Right.
a little
Tight.
cozy in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're forced to make friends. Like you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
just get your own table. You get chairs.
You get
Yeah.
to exist
Yeah.
basically in a space.
In the
And
space.
like, this is where we are.
Yeah.
You're
Well, it's
like,
great. I
I
love
would
it.
like to sit here. Perfect. Sit down.
The building was a theater. Like I
Mhm.
remember when we were first in Great Falls, that was the theater, like where the community theater
Oh.
performed.
Yeah.
hmm So, which is not part of where you can. When I at least stuck my head in the building, it was like it was closed off, like you were
Oh,
going
yeah, the back part.
back into that section, but it
Yeah.
used to be a theater.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and they're
Yeah.
working on that section too.
Yeah.
So that'll be
There
fun.
you go. Yeah.
And their brats really are good. I
They
love
are.
their brats.
Matt gets mad at me though because I put ketchup on mine, which I
Ooh.
guess just really offends his German soul. I'm like, I'm sorry, man. That's just the way I am.
Yeah.
I can't even believe it allows you to have it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think sometimes if we order, I'm like, don't tell him it's me because he won't let me have it. But he's like, he'll put stuff on it that I don't like just to mess
it's
with
even
me.
in the building.
Yeah. He lets me.
You mentioned the symphony. Does that mean that's another
Yes.
one of your
Actually,
top 5?
yeah, that's great. I love the symphony.
Yeah.
So it's so much fun.
Yeah.
And I get season tickets, so I rotate through some of my friends and make them
Yeah.
all go. I'm like, I will turn my friends into symphony
Yeah.
goers.
It
We
really
just
is
have a great time.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, I've told Hillary and Grant, like, there are days I'm like, all right, that one just wasn't necessarily my speed, which is what
Right.
Grant, and I've talked to Grant too. He's like, that's what he's trying to do, is expose you to
Different.
different kinds of music, things you might not have thought of or heard
Yeah.
of. And I'm like, I've learned a lot of things. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't know I really enjoyed the French horn.
Yeah.
Because they had I think, was it last season? Was the soloist was a French horn?
Yeah,
Maybe
I
it was the year
believe it
before.
is. Yeah.
One of my favorites. And
Yeah.
I just didn't expect that. I'm like,
Yeah.
that was so good.
Well, and I know they're also trying to, because I got to have a conversation. I know nothing about music, but I was invited to be part of this conversation at the beginning of last year, just like brainstorming.
I did that the year before.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, brainstorming about ideas to get people to come to the symphony and things like that. And this wasn't what I pitched, but I'm sure it ended up being good. They did like a video game inspired
they
series,
did.
and that's what they kicked off this symphony season
Yeah.
with.
That was
And
popular.
so they're trying to bring it. It's like, I'm sure as members of the symphony, they, somebody like me, I'm like, well, you should do this or this. And they're like,
That's not real music.
that's
Yeah.
not really like, they want the really high caliber,
Yeah.
storied classical music, which is wonderful.
It's
But I
great.
think it's great to have
The
that
mix,
variety
yeah.
because you want to bring in
Younger,
new
different
listeners.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that will intrigue them because if people kind of have in their brain what they think a symphony is, like
Exactly.
it gets them out of that and gets more people.
Yeah. And I think, they've been pretty creative, I think, in the last
Yeah.
few years and
Yeah.
really trying to get more people in the door.
Yeah.
I love it. It's always
Yeah.
fun. Run into people, see people,
Yeah.
enjoy the music. We always have a blast.
I'll just plug too on our Facebook page, Visit Great Falls. We have tickets for the symphony season
right.
that we will be continuing to give away. We gave away the tickets to the one that's this Saturday, which will be
Oh.
in the past when this one comes
Not
out.
symphony season tickets.
Correct, but
Tickets
during this
for
During
the performances,
the
which
season.
are roughly
Approximately,
monthly
yeah.
performances. So so be looking on the page there. You can get some
Yeah.
free tickets
So
to go to the
fun.
symphony. Yeah.
I mean, I do. Oh, I know one. Their Christmas concert is one of my all-time
yes.
favorite things. Every year, I just get I'm such a little kid. I'm like, sing
Yeah,
along
well,
time.
and then at
like,
the end, Santa or the Grinch
so,
sometimes
the Grinch was so fun. I
comes.
love. They had the little boy conduct this year at Christmas.
Oh, I
Where-
didn't.
Did you see
This
that?
was like the first year in a long time I didn't go.
He's so adorable. He's
Yeah.
like yay tall, and he's out there. He was the conductor for the sing-along part, and it was just the cutest thing ever. I
Yeah.
loved it so
It was
much.
so fun.
They're so fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love singing along too.
Mhm.
Although sometimes they make me cry because it's like something from home, and I get all like
Yeah.
nostalgic and homesick, and then I'll just be crying at the symphony. Hillary, the director, the one year they sang one that we sang in our church choir all the time, and
Yeah.
I just like
Lost
lost
it.
it. And I'm like, what is wrong with me right now? It's Christmas. And I'm like, I'm feeling some feelings,
Yeah.
I guess. And
Things
Hillary's
are
sitting
happening.
behind me, and she's kind of like, are you okay? And I'm like, they're tears of joy, I think. But like, also,
They're
I'm like,
complicated.
I don't know what's happening.
It's complicated.
like, I just really love this song,
Yeah.
and now I'm so happy, but I'm
Yeah.
crying. I'm like,
I
all right.
broke down in tears one year at a 4th of July parade
That'll happen.
because there was a guy that was on the street and he was probably 85, 90, just super excited about celebrating the freedom of the
Aw.
United States. And I'm like watching him just
Well,
get on.
that's special.
So then I
sweet.
start bawling, and then my husband and his beautiful refrain, "Why are you crying? Shut up." Like,
because I am, deal
Right?
with it.
It's a beautiful moment.
just saw a beautiful moment and you
Yeah.
ruined it.
Mhm.
Why are you
oh my
here?
Gosh, I love
Sounds
it.
about right. Yeah. Yeah.
Typical. Well, if I ever see you, I'll be like, got it.
Yep.
Enjoy that cry.
Just start crying with you, probably.
It'll happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes I cry more when I'm happy, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why is this happening? Just
It's
an
true.
emotional response.
Biggest
Yeah.
frustration. Why are these showing up today?
Uh-huh.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I know.
They're sneaky.
Sometimes they just
Yeah.
they get
Yeah.
the best of you.
So Jen, for people
Yes.
on Feasting of the Falls, they
Yep.
want to get more information about what is actually happening. Where where, pray tell, should they navigate to?
There is a page on the Electric's website, which is theelectricgf.com. Kind of a lot of E's. Sorry about that. Didn't think that through when I made the name. But there's a tab on there that'll be kind of that houses all of it. And I did buy some other domains for feastinginthefalls.com and all that. I just haven't built them yet. That's another project we have to do. It might be over the summer. I don't know if I'll get that done for March. But yeah, though I'll compile everything in that space, and then hopefully I got some interns this season or this semester, so a couple of them want to write about food. So I might just send them out into the world and do some business profiles or food profiles. And then I think Shannon and I might go eat and drink a little bit and do something with that.
Share about that. Yeah.
Well, I've always had a dream for Shannon to do chef profiles for our YouTube channel and talk to them about
cross content promotion.
Yep, exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, because I've seen some chef interviews that are really fun, and they take you into the kitchen and talk to you about the food pairings, and for someone who doesn't cook, I'm expanding my horizons.
She loves a TikTok recipe.
Oh.
I
don't even use TikTok, so you're ahead of me.
Well, it's fun.
I'm a boomer at heart. I can't do new things.
But just learning about kind of the science of food.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is, if you do this, this is how you get to this point.
Yeah.
And this will work
that's what I
for
need.
X, Y, Z. And I'm like, oh. So this is just a basic skill I need to have.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched America's Test Kitchen?
No.
You should.
I've never even heard of
They
this.
have a whole cookbook too, don't they?
Yeah, they have cookbooks, and it's great because they're professional chefs, but they go on and they make recipes, but they walk you through, they test different things, and they tell you why things happen the way they happen. I loved it. I haven't watched it in a while, but I used to watch it all the time. And I have their cookbook. It's the only one I really cook from.
Nice.
It's a great cookbook.
I received for Christmas last year, it's like the Science of Cooking book. So it explains, because that's what I need. I'm like, okay, but why do I need to do a meat this way, or why is it reacting this way? Exactly. How can I make my kitchen smoke detector not go off? That's my biggest question.
That's a tricky one.
Yeah.
My husband's is spices. He always wants to, like, his choice. He's like, this needs some spices. I'm like,
but does it?
It actually probably doesn't. And one night he came home, and this is the balance of everyone who's ever had a partner in life. He had made dinner, and I walked in, and I smelled, we had breakfast for dinner. So it was eggs, sausage, and hash browns. When you walk in, you should smell those smells. I didn't smell any of those smells. And I'm like, what has happened?
Huh.
And then he plates my meal, and I go to eat the hash browns. I'm like, oh, that's the smell. Like, what? He goes, yeah, I used some steak seasoning on the potatoes.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that makes sense now. But he'll do the same thing with taco meat. He's like, what spices should I put in there? The taco seasoning. That's it. That's all you put in.
I get, like, the hash browns. I could get where he was trying to go with that. But the tacos, like, that's a specific. Yeah.
You don't, unless
flavor.
you're making your own taco seasoning, like, don't grab the Chipotle, whatever crap you're looking at. But I digress, obviously.
I love it, though.
And I have no idea where I was going other than that complete and total
I think we were
rant.
talking about where to find information about Feasting in the Falls.
Well, but I also wanted to add back on track. Food That Built America is one of the shows that I watch.
I have seen that. I love that.
And I love that
one.
So
that's a good one.
Yeah.
I think they do one that's like Roads That Built America too. There's like different versions of that. And I just, such a nerd.
Is that like a PBS
I think it's
one?
PBS or is it Create? One of
History?
those like
it sounds like one of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's really good. So it takes you
great.
through the beginning of like condensed soup. And just randomness. I've enjoyed that. But I also like a little bit of history. So
fascinating.
So Feasting in the Falls from Great Falls Electric. We'll get the event added to our website, which will link to Jenn's website. So you'll be able to get all that information. But really just plan to be here for an entire week so you can eat and drink your way through town.
Because Feasting in the Falls and then it's
Western Art
Week. Yeah, there's a lot going on this month. I did there's a Facebook page too, and I made an event.
Yes, you did.
Did I make you a co-host? I'll try.
I just saw
Pages
it.
are kind of weird. I keep trying to like add people to them to be. I haven't mastered the internet.
We'll look at it.
I mean,
But I think we can
it's
make it
tough.
a co-host.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's just a fad, so don't worry about it.
Probably.
The internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a episode of The Office where Dwight Schrute comments on that.
Yeah.
There are days. Like, I don't know if this is helping us, but
Yeah.
this is where I live now. So
I
it's a
know.
dangerous place.
Can't get away from it.
The thing is, I've had a blast. You have a lot of crap that needs to get done, so we're gonna wrap it
Yeah.
up, folks.
Yeah. Go work on feasting. Just
Right?
kidding.
No, that was me yesterday. I
Just
was
kidding.
like, finish this sheet and send it out today. What did I text you? I will
Yeah,
do this
I will
today.
get this out today. Yeah.
Some days are just like that.
Yeah.
And folks, if you need a reason to show up in our community, we've given you so many. Just pick one.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Jen will take you to, maybe we should raffle off a date with Jen to the symphony because she's providing the tickets.
Yeah. You
Some
have
days.
to have to pick up dinner.
Yeah. There you go.
Buy
Or
a date with
drinks.
a reporter.
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
awkward at all.
Well,
I could go a lot
how
of
about
ways.
we call it rent a buddy instead of a date?
Yeah, I didn't really mean like a date,
No,
just
I
like
know.
a
Rent a buddy.
friend's
Rent a
date.
buddy.
Yeah.
You can rent.
We should side job from the electric. I'll be your friend for the night.
Right.
Talk about cooking.
I could see this actually being a really good thing.
The
You're
empire
welcome.
we're going to build around
Yes.
drunk
This
news.
It's a
is going
dangerous
to be
group of
amazing.
people
Yeah.
to have in a room. You never know what we might do.
Mm.
The
So,
ideas.
folks, until we see your bright, smiling, happy, healthy, beautiful face here in our fine, fine city of Great Falls, Montana, we hope you are creating amazing memories with your friends and family wherever you might be. See you soon.
We're No Dam Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town. Damn, that felt good.